We are back, people. Post off season podcast episode. That's right. We're going to off season, so a little bit of house cleaning to do, but we're back, people. And coming up on this episode, we dive into the news around the league, go over all the awards that have been announced this past week: Cy Young, Manager of the Year, Rookie of the Year, so on and so forth. And then we talk about some of the new manager hirings around the league: Detroit Tigers, the Boston Red Sox, and the very controversial, very interesting hire by the Chicago White Sox. We'll give you a little hint if you haven't heard. Former Oakland A's manager. And then our main segment, what are we talking about, Julio?
That's right. We're bringing on lifelong A's fan, as long as lifelong friend, Xavier Bejarano. We're going to be filling out report cards for the Oakland A's 2020 season. Was it going to be straight A's? Are they going to be failing? We'll see. But
am I going to be able to give this report card to my parents, or am I going to get in trouble? What do you think, Julio?
You know, if you give me enough money, I can make it look good enough for your parents.
That sounds good to me. So let's dive into the episode, huh?
Yeah, it's been too long. Let's do it.
Woo! We've had no baseball and no basketball. It's because of the sports overload this past summer. The only sports during the week we have are Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, and if we're lucky, there's a COVID outbreak that postpones a game during a bye week, and we get Tuesday Night Football every once in a while.
Yeah.
So
it's
Julio,
a horrible way to say it, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously sarcasm in that. So Julio, what have you been doing during the week instead of watching sports?
I've gone outside, like walks. It's like, oh shit, like it's LA's not like incredibly hot right now. So
you guys still do your nightly walks?
Well, here's the thing. Now that not only is it getting darker sooner, daylight savings time, like sunsets at 5, I am now at that age in my life where I wake up early to go on walks.
So like you do your walks in the morning now with Ann Whitney.
Correct. So we woke up at 7.
For the listeners, during quarantine, Julio and his significant other, Ann Whitney, picked up a hobby where they went on walks every night at around 7. Looks like they moved that to the morning. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. We do a little morning walk, and then we finish up. We'll go get a nice cup of coffee.
Do you take your cats with you?
I probably wish. Highlight Coffee. If you live in the Glendale area, Highlight Coffee, fantastic spot. But
I'll have to check it out next time I'm over
there. We'll do that, and then we'll start working for the day.
Yeah.
But in terms of like entertainment wise, PS5 comes in tomorrow, so I'm pretty hyped on that. But
yeah,
like
but what have you been doing? Obviously, that's what you're going to be doing. What have you been doing?
TV wise, I watched Ted Lasso, and I cannot say anymore how awesome of a show that is. Like I need to get on that. That was I think that's my favorite show this year.
Yeah.
But also, I've become a member of Cobra Kai and watched the crap out of that on Netflix.
Nice. How many seasons
Did you watch
are on
it?
Netflix?
There's 2. It's just the 2 seasons.
I know it's on my queue. I just have to catch up with so much shit. So I've been splitting between The Boys. So that's what I was going to The Boys has been amazing this season. I was going to say. So
I watched that earlier.
You think Ted Lasso is better than The Boys, huh? Interesting.
Yes, absolutely. Dude, I'm telling you, that was like the only other show I put on that level was What We Do in the Shadows.
I mean, yes. Yeah, that's God.
And my guy, Jackie Daytona.
That was back in April. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes. So What We Do in the Shadows is definitely it.
It's up there.
So I've been splitting time between The Boys and Fargo. The new season of Fargo came out, and Fargo is like my favorite show on TV like the past 5 years. And Fargo's been pretty amazing too. And then after that, I'm gonna watch Watchmen because I haven't watched Watchmen yet.
Ooh,
I heard it's really good. But what I've been doing in my spare time is growing a mustache because it's Movember. It's it's a little bit of baby hairs right now, but in about a week it'll be a full on stash. So look out, listeners, to the next podcast. check our YouTube channel out for the next podcast. I'll have a pretty glorious catfish hunter / Dennis Eckersley style mustache. I'm
Also,
I promise.
Mandalorian's been pretty tight so far. I don't know if you watch it or not, but
No, I like to wait. So I like to wait until the whole season's done for Mandalorian because I don't follow any like social media for like spoilers, so I don't have to worry about that. Because I tried last time and I got anxious and then I would forget. So like I would watch like 3 episodes at a time and I'm like I would just much rather just binge the show. I'm just gonna wait until it all comes out. And I waited till season 1.
I was talking with your brother about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were talking about it the other day. It's been awesome so far, honestly. Yeah. First season super slow, understand why.
Yeah.
But it's been so far, like now that the world is established, it's been pretty kick-ass. But as much as we love talking about TV and movies,
welcome to the Town Tailgate Podcast.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't change. We missed you all. It's been a minute.
So Chris Madrigal back again. We're gonna get into some end of the year report card for the team, but first we're gonna jump back into the old structure because we don't have baseball anymore, so we might as well go back to our old show structure, not just talking about the World Series and whatnot. So let's kick it off with some national news. Some awards came out in the past week or in a couple days. We haven't gotten the big one yet from the MVP, but 90% of them are out. We'll start with Rookie of the Year. For the American League, it was Kyle Lewis from Seattle. In the National League, it was Devin Williams, the relief pitcher from the Brewers. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we saw it coming with both of these awards. Devin Williams, I mean, I feel bad for the guy for pitching on the Brewers because he was like insane. What was his ERA? Like 0.38 or something like that? Did we look it up yesterday and it was wild?
Yeah. He's got some pretty, I think he throws like a fork ball. That's like pretty nuts, or a change up, something that's like really. So don't be shocked if in the next couple months, Josh Hader is on the move because he's going to take his job.
I mean, I'm surprised we were all kind of shocked he wasn't on the move during the deadline.
Yeah, that's true. I think the asking price was a little too much then. But if we want to bring it back to A's talk, Sean Murphy finished 4th.
Yeah.
He really, really came into the last month of the season. We were really high up on him. He had a really good postseason. Future looks super bright behind the backstop, but
100%. And me and you talked about this. We texted about this. How had they included the postseason, like 100%, I think Murphy would have been second, probably finished second. But they didn't include the postseason because it's a regular season award, so he didn't finish as high.
The one thing I was a little disappointed about was Jesus didn't get as much love as I thought he would have.
Yeah,
I think he was right around the 7-8 range. Yeah. Guys like Christian Javier finished higher, as well as Framber Valdez from Houston. It just kind of shows we had some pretty lofty expectations. He's just not there yet.
He's a young kid, man. I mean, like, this is his first full season. It was only 60 games. Like,
well, same thing as other guys, but
yeah. I hear you, but I mean, he came into the season as kind of like the ace of the staff. I think it's just a lot of pressure on him. I guess you could argue that Montas was the ace of the staff going into the season, but I mean, there was a lot of eyes on Luzardo assuming that he was going to be that first pitcher to go out in a playoff series, which he was, and that he would grow into that role over the season, but it's hard to grow into that role in a 60-game season. Murphy surpassed my expectations. I didn't think he was going to be
big time
this season. I thought he would be okay and he would like ground himself, but I mean, he really just like everything, both sides of the ball, defensively, what he did with the rotation and grounding that rotation, and offensively, just the big hits when he needed it is the most important thing about his aspect of the game.
Absolutely. Yeah. Next up, we got Manager of the Year. The two main guys who end up winning it. We have Don Mattingly with the Miami Marlins. Sorry.
Feels weird saying that, right?
Yeah, right. He becomes the 5th player or the 5th person in Major League Baseball history to win both the MVP and Manager of the Year. Yeah. The Marlins had no like they shouldn't have been here in the first place. They shouldn't have been a contending team. They had a massive COVID outbreak, and they made it all the way to the NLDS. So hell yeah, good job, Don Mattingly.
He deserves it for sure. I'm happy that he got it, and it was a rough go there with the Dodgers. Like those 5 seasons in a row, he get knocked out in the ALC or NLCS. Like I'm glad that he's successful over there.
And he never had to shave those sideburns like
That's true.
Mr. Burns had to. And then for the American League, we have another interesting one. This person was also the World Series MVP, and it's Kevin Cash. Kevin Cash from the Tampa Bay Rays, World Series MVP for taking out Blake Snell.
I think we all saw that one coming.
And if we again bring it back to the A's, Belmo finished 4th. So it's pretty interesting that that there's not really a major voter fatigue when it comes to Beaumont, because Beaumont's already won it twice, or 2 or 3 times. I know twice with Oakland.
He'll always be in that conversation, but he's never going to win it again, dude.
Probably not, unless he goes to another team that's in the shitter, what the A's have been, and then he's able to prop them up. But again, no real surprises there. Cy Young
came out today.
Ohio. The state of Ohio won it big time.
Yeah. And you know what the coolest thing? So Shane Bieber wins in the American League with the Cleveland Indians, and then Trevor Bauer with the Cincinnati Reds. I think, though, Jacob deGrom had another amazing season, I think Bauer was the obvious front runner. Same with Shane Bieber. He was unanimous first ballot votes. I didn't know this about Shane Bieber. Was a walk-on at UC Santa Barbara.
Shout out Gauchos.
Yeah, and now he's a Cy Young winner. That's incredible. A walk-on. Didn't have a scholarship throughout college had to pay for college while playing on the baseball team. Like, that's incredible.
I saw a stat that this is dude, the freaking the Indians pitching coach. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. This is the 5th Cy Young winner he's had. So he's had, or 5th or 4th. He's had CC, Cliff Lee, Corey Kluber, Bieber, and there's somebody else. We'll probably have to look up on the side.
Wait, CC won it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, CC won 2006, 2007, somewhere around there.
I think it was Cliff Lee get back to back. I remember something like that.
I want to say it was 2007 because that was the year when Cleveland was at the ALCS and they blew it to Boston with what's his name? Who the hell is that power hitting first baseman?
That's right. And then they traded him to Milwaukee the next year, and he was 11-2 with Milwaukee, and he almost won the Cy Young that year because he was so dominant. Or the NL Cy Young. That would have been wild. Yeah. Anyway.
Pretty huge. And I'm glad. I don't know if we've talked about this offline before, but about end of August, I actually put some money down for Yu Darvish winning Cy Young. Because he was been looking so good, and he had a fantastic year.
Yeah.
And then about a week or 2 ago, I was able to get a Bovada spread, and I hedged it a little bit with Bauer winning. So thankfully for that.
Nice.
Another thing about Bauer, though, the Reds are historically a dominant franchise, even though they haven't done so much the last 10, 20 years. If you look back at the history through the Big Red Machine, the 1990s title, all that stuff, historic franchise. We've never had a Cy Young winner.
That's pretty fucking wild when you texted me that earlier today. I was like, really? Johnny Cueto? Or when you said that earlier, Johnny Cueto? I mean, I guess I can't think of a ton of amazing pitchers for the Reds, but I mean, those two right there stand out a ton, Cueto and Bauer, even though this is Bauer's first season, but still, I'm a little shocked by that.
Even the Big Red Machine of the 70s, us being big baseball fans, our whole lives, I couldn't tell you anybody in that rotation.
I bet you if I looked it up, names would pop out a little bit, but not off the top of my head. The names that come up to mind for those teams are Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench.
Pete Rose,
yeah, Pete Rose. I mean, it's offensive guys, some of the best hitters of all time. All right, cool. So let's move on to the major piece of news. In this
actually, before we go into pick coaching, because that's gonna be next.
Yeah.
Let's make by the time you listen to this, you're gonna know who's gonna be the MVP. In the American League, we have Jose Abreu from the White Sox, Jose Ramirez from the Indians, and then DJ LeMahieu from the Yankees. I cannot spell DJ LeMahieu's
Yeah, he didn't
last
spell
name.
his name right on these notes.
Murdered it. And then in the National League, we got Mookie Betts from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Freddie Freeman from the Atlanta Braves, and Manny Machado from the San Diego Padres. Chris, bold prediction. We'll keep it short. Who do you have in each league?
I mean, I think I'm gonna go. I think, like you said, Abreu may be the front runner, but I'm gonna go with LeMahieu in the American League, and then I'll go with Freddie Freeman in the National League. And I feel like Freddie Freeman's an easy pick, but he dominated. He was so good this year. I had him on my fantasy team, and it was great, even though my fantasy team sucked. It was fantastic to have him.
I'm there with you for Freddie. Honestly, he had a huge COVID scare. And the fact that he had a pretty slow start, he came back, and he was the core reason why the Braves made it to the NLCS. And then I'm going to go with Jose Abreu. Again, a little biased because I had him on my fantasy team, but he finally lived up to that potential of what we've seen him over the last 2-3 years, where power hitting first baseman gets RBIs, but he's still swing a lot of swing and miss stuff. He's still not hitting high average. This year he finally put it together, and I think he'll be
not just bombing 40 home runs a season and hitting 260. He actually had a good average this season. Next piece of news. So the Mets finally got an owner. The Wilpon family, which was a disgraceful baseball family, they just did a terrible job owning that team. Sold to Steve Cohen, a hedge fund manager worth $14 billion. And the dude has made it very clear he plans to spend some money. He wants to do it the opposite way that the Wilpons did it. He had a quote from his press conference that said, "I'm going to be an owner that builds a team that has continued success, emphasizing that you build not buying championships. We want to win now, but we also are building a team for the long term." So that's going to be interesting to see, especially in New York with such a fucking big market. Like you should take advantage of that. Like I understand that the Yankees dominate that market, but New York City is so big, like that there's a bigger share there to have a piece of that pie. You know what I mean? Like that's a bigger share than some of these teams that only have one like team in their market. Like that's a bigger market than like Seattle, for example.
Yeah, and he had another quote where he was like, if we don't win a World Series in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm going to see this as kind of a failure.
Yeah.
So the guy wants to win. He has very much, if we're going to use Warrior terminology, he's very much like Joe Lakeup energy when it comes to how much he wants to win no matter what. And shit, that could be something the Mets going to need. They were in a World Series 5 years ago. And a lot of those key guys, at least in the rotation, are still there with DeGrom and Syndergaard.
Mm-hmm.
And who wouldn't want to play in New York? There's a lot of potential. Marcus Stroman actually just took his offer, and he's going to be coming back and playing for the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was their GM or somebody else on one of the radio shows was talking about like, oh yeah, Trevor Bauer would be a great fit for New York. So damn,
we're going all in on pitching, I guess.
Yeah, why not, right?
I mean, yeah, I get it. But you got to put runs on the board or runs on the scoreboard, and that's something that that's their issue that they've had the past few seasons. It's Pete Alonso and
Jeff McNeil, Dom Smith. Pretty much it.
Sure. Edison Rosario has not panned out to what they expected. I mean, they need some help over there. Jed Lowry being hurt for the entire time he's been under contract there does not help, I will say.
I think he took like 2 at-bats, something like that.
And he's taken like $30 million of their payroll, which is insane.
And the reason we kind of wanted to talk more about this is it's really depressing to hear an owner feel like this enthusiastic and who has a lot of money.
Yeah.
Just, I know you're not listening, John Fisher, but just please do something.
I'm not going to go on another rant about John Fisher.
We're in a good
podcast.
mood.
Yeah, we've done enough on this podcast, and I think we've accepted the fact that he's just going to be a piece of shit for the rest of the time that he owns the A's. We're just going to have to get over it. All right, the final big piece of national news, which this is a big one. Couple manager hirings. AJ Hinch was hired by the Detroit Tigers to take over that team. the Boston Red Sox brought back Alex Cora. They just don't give a shit, I guess, and they're just like, fuck it, you're in. And then the Chicago White Sox fired their AL Manager of the Year finalist in Rich Renteria because he was not a big analytics guy. He was more of an old school guy. And they wanted to switch it up and get more analytical. And they decided to hire 76-year-old Tony LaRussa as their new manager, a guy who literally was anti-analytics when he exited the league. He was not about it. That's a big reason why. Well, that and he got a DUI is a big reason why he exited the league back in 2011. Julio, Julio, I'm gonna tee this up for you, and you can take this one from the beginning. You could start this.
So usually I'm sarcastic when I say this, but this time I truly mean it. Former Oakland great. Now before we go far into, I've been waiting weeks to talk about this, by the way. Before we kind of go into like the negatives, what are a couple of positives? Well, one, like Tony LaRussa is one of the greatest managers ever. He's a Hall of Famer. He is a 3-time World Series champion. He got one in Oakland, 8-9. He's got 2 at the Cardinals. He was also had 3 straight World Series appearances with the A's. He's coached some of the best players of the last 30, 40 years with Albert Pujols, Ricky Henderson, Dennis Eckersley. The list goes on and on and on and on. The guy is a baseball genius. He does a ton of stuff for the A's, especially when it comes to his animal protection. What's the word I'm looking for? But ARF, where pretty much they're helping with stray animals, helping animals get adopted. Fantastic stuff.
Great. So he wants to protect animal rights, but he doesn't want to protect immigrant rights. Cool.
So here's how we're going to start shitting on him. What are you doing? What are we doing here? We have a 76-year-old manager who is going to be taking over one of the most fun and exciting teams in all of baseball. You have a ton of awesome
flashy team. This is a flashy team. They have fun playing the game and they show it. And that is one thing that Tony LaRussa does not like.
Exactly. You have Tim Anderson, the fucking swag champ of the baseball right now. Every time he hits a home run, bat toss, going into the air. Luis Roberts, Jose Abreu, Yohan Moncada. Oh my God, I'm skipping out the right outfielder's name. Anyways, you have a super young and exciting team who is very flashy, very exuberant. He does not like that shit. He's already came out and he dissed on Fernando Tatis Jr. for a 3-0 pitch home run. So there's going to be a huge, huge, huge generational gap between the two players. Now, some of the arguments have been saying like, all right, well, he coached Ricky. Ricky's probably the flashiest player ever. But at the same time, Ricky was taking you to a World Series in consecutive seasons. So you're going to let the guy do whatever the hell you want. And it's just really disappointing on that aspect because the White Sox were right there. They were so close to advancing, and they probably would have. They had a good chance to beat that White Sox or the Astros team. Mm-hmm. And now you're having this fun, exciting team that was invested into, and you're kind of going to kill that momentum. Tim Anderson's already came out and said Tony LaRussa hasn't been reached out to him. He hasn't reached out to him and talked to him. You have your franchise player, back-to-back Silver Slugger, one of the best shortstops in all of baseball. You haven't talked to him yet. Oh, and by the way, there's more for that. You have a team that's dominantly minorities. Tim Anderson is one that we're going to keep talking about him because as a black man in baseball and one of the best players in baseball, you're going to have that spotlight. You have players who are dominantly Cuban and coming from all across Latin America who they're minorities. They're going to want to have their voices heard. They want to, especially within this past year with a lot of civil unrest with the murder of George Floyd and all this stuff. He doesn't care about that. He was outspoken a ton about Colin Kaepernick back in 2016.
He supported a bill in Arizona that gave police the right to pull over any person they want of Latino race and search their vehicle without cause. This was a bill that went in Arizona it didn't get passed, but it went up in Arizona that allowed police to search the cars of Latino people in the state without needing to have probable cause to do it because of immigration rules. And he openly supported this bill. Like, I mean, I don't want to call the guy racist, but like, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. That's all I'm going to say.
For the record, fuck SB 1070. That was the law. As somebody who has family members in Arizona, get that shit out of here. So now we're asking, okay, why are we doing this? Actually, wait, no, we're not asking that because there's more. The guy has had multiple DUIs in the last 5 to 10 years. The guy,
and his
76
second
years.
DUI came the day they announced it. The ruling came down the day after they announced his hiring. The day after. Like, that's the thing I want to ask you. Like, do you think that he told them? Like, there's no way that they didn't know about this, right?
Just, Jerry, I got to be real with you. I had a few beers the other night. Jerry Reinsdorf, the White Sox owner. So I'm going to read you guys the full quote.
Just before you do that, can I explain to the people why he became the manager? He became the manager because back in 2011, when the Cardinals fired him because he got a DUI, Jerry Reinsdorf is good friends with him, and he promised him that he would hire him as a manager of the White Sox because he got fired, whatever. Then it came out they had a DUI. Jerry Reinsdorf was like, sorry, bro, just not a good timing. Don't think this is going to work out for us. Next time, I'll get you on the next one. So this is Jerry Reinsdorf living up on his IOU, basically. That's the story of it. That's the story of why he's the manager.
And also, if for those of you who don't know, Jerry Reinsdorf is also one of the main reasons why the Chicago Bulls for the 90s were broken up. Wasn't the main reason, but he was one of the high reasons of why they broke up. Here's the full quote of Tony LaRussa getting pulled over. I'm going to read it off my phone here.
So this is so great.
I had one glass of wine while at dinner with my friends. And the police officer said, before searching his person and placing him in the rear of my patrol vehicle, LaRussa asked, do you see my ring? I asked LaRussa what he was talking about. LaRussa stated, I'm a Hall of Fame baseball person. While placing him in the rear of my patrol vehicle,
which is definitely something you would say when you're completely sober. That's how you would explain it, right?
He sounds like Charlie from It's Always Sunny. I'm a Hall of Fame baseball person. Anyways, LaRussa stated, I'm legit. I'm a Hall of Famer, brother. You're trying to embarrass me. I advise LaRussa I will not embarrass him and would treat him with the utmost respect. This is not a guy who should be managing a baseball team.
Can I add one more thing that you actually, a little bit tidbit that you missed at the very beginning when he said, I had one glass of wine at dinner. He said, I had one glass of wine while having dinner with some former California Angels players. The Angels haven't been called the California Angels for 20 something years.
I mean, look, in his defense of that, I'm never going to call them the Los Angeles Angels. They're always going to be the Anaheim Angels. And I'm sure we're in the same boat.
I mean, they've had two different name changes since the California Angels, bro.
Like, it's been at least 25, 22, 23 years since they have that name. Anyways, look, he's a fantastic manager. We've known this. He has a lot of demons that he needs to get fixed. And at the point,
can you fix him at the age of 76 though? Exactly.
And that's a huge problem. And if he really wanted to manage again, I think there would have been better options. Probably not right now, but I think there would have been better options from him to go and try it out. If he wanted to go to Detroit and go with the young team and teach them that way, that would have been a great option. I was thinking of like a team like the Angels, even though Joe Madden's there, he could have been somebody who slid in, worked with Pujols, kind of like a middle of the age group where he can work with that. You're going to have a team that is complete opposite of everything he stands by in personal philosophy and baseball philosophy. This is a fucking disaster waiting to happen, man.
Yeah, and it could ruin this very good White Sox team that has a lot of potential.
You have a team that, like, we're only seeing the start of what the White Sox are going to be doing.
Yeah.
Well, once their pitching gets in line, like they're going to be a force, but you're going to have a team that is not going to stand by that manager when shit has to fan and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, way to go, Jerry.
I mean,
gotta repay a favor.
Nice. Jerry Reinsdorf has like a history of doing this. He like hires his friends as like really important positions. Like the Bulls former GM that they finally fired was his like really good friend, which is the reason why he got the job. And he look what he did to that team. He completely ruined it after Derrick Rose. So I mean, like, I don't know.
But also, if you want to keep talking about the Bulls, if this isn't a basketball podcast, what have they done since Michael Jordan left? How many playoff appearances?
Like I mean,
3,
Derrick
4?
Rose and Jimmy Butler. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, they've had
Yeah. All right, so let's move on real quick. We don't want to spend too much time on it because we got our feature segment is going to be quite a long one with some guests, by the way. The A's news, we'll get into it real quick. So the A's laid off like 100 or something like that employees in the ticket sales department. I don't know. I mean, it's more bullshit from John Fisher. I mean, I get it. Like, you got to cut somewhere because there's not going to be fans in the stadium anytime soon. But like, he can just go fuck himself. I feel the same way. You know?
Yeah, nothing much to add. Just it's sad. Hopefully, these people can get jobs back with the organization or somewhere else soon.
Next piece of news. I don't know how to spell his name, so maybe you should deliver this news or pronounce his name.
Yeah, I'll go and do it. Next season, we're going to be seeing a new third base coach. Al Pedrique is our third base coach. He will not be returning to the organization. This kind of happened a few weeks ago. There hasn't been too much news since then. Baseball's been, in terms of like news going on outside of like manager hirings, there hasn't been too much going on. I'd imagine probably by like the end of this month or end of December, we're going to have a better idea. But yeah, new face can be joining the team soon. This was the spot he took the spot that was originally vacated for Matt Williams when Matt Williams went and coached in Korea.
And Ron Washington too.
The GOAT, that's right. Not much to add there. And then last, no Billy Beane leaving news. So like, no news is good news, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that the only reason why there isn't any news by that is that maybe there's a negotiation going on at least, where John Fisher is offering him part ownership of the A's for him to stay. That's the only thing I can think of. Or he's still negotiating with the Fenway Group on his firm and how much they're buying the Red Sox. That's the only thing I can think of. Something's just behind the scenes. They're still negotiating something, whether it be ownership from the Red Sox or the A's. So I think that's the only reason why nothing's happening. But free agency's going on, and someone's got to make some deals. So I don't know.
Now there are some rumblings though when it comes to free agency, at least according to like Jeff Passan and like other baseball insiders, it's gonna be a pretty slow free agency.
Because the CBA is up next year.
The CBA is up. COVID.
Yeah.
Don't be shocked if it's going to be some time until we start seeing names start falling, unlike other sports. So
it's not, in general, it's just not like basketball. It's not like as soon as the clock strikes midnight, there's deals left and right. Like, it's just not that it. Okay, cool. So that's going to do it for the first half of this podcast. We're going to jump into our feature segment coming up. Again, it's a report card for the season with 2 guests. So stick around and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. Featured segment this week is, like I said earlier, something to talk about. You know how the offseason can be a little boring, but we want to talk about this past season before we move on to the next season. It's going to be our report card for the season. We're going to go through each position and give a grade. Not necessarily specific to players, but just in general how the position played this year. This was Julio's idea. Good job, Julio. But we have a special guest with us this week, a fellow Antiochian, a really old friend of yours, Julio. Is he part of the ERC? I don't remember.
Not really.
He's I would say adopted ERC.
Xavier immediately no.
Xavier is ERC through marriage because of Peter.
Yeah, through
So
marriage.
That's
yeah,
fair.
through marriage. Anyways, yeah, this is one of my good friends. Known him for 15 plus years. Xavier Xavier Bejarano, XEB. Call him whatever you want. Xavier, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Is it
Glad to
weird?
have
Happy to be here.
Is it weird hanging out with me and talking to me and not my brother?
Kind of, yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, another
Yeah,
one
a
of
little
my
bit.
brother's fellow friends for the podcast listeners. All right, Xavier, let's get to know you first before we hop into this though. So you've been an A's fan for as long as I've known you. How did you become a fan of the A's and like and why do you like the team so much? Would you say?
I mean, honestly, it probably started. I used to live in Oakland.
Yeah.
My family used to live in Oakland. They're from there, so I really have that root connection, I guess you could say. My first memory of being
Rooted
an
in
A's
Oakland.
fan, I was going to St. Bernard's Catholic School. It's no longer going on. I think they couldn't afford to run the shit anymore. But we remember walking from where, I don't know if you know where East 14th is, where the old Quickway used to be. Do you guys know what that is? Julio, are you
No.
fond with that? Remember?
I'm more, well, my family's all on 40th. So that's a
Okay.
little bit further down,
A
but
little bit further, but there's
Yeah.
like a Quickway. It's like, it used to be a cheap hamburger spot, greasy food. So we used to walk right from there all the way to the Coliseum. It was a few miles away. But I remember being in the first grade, walking there for a full field trip. Don't know who we played, but that's my first memory, first A's game I've ever been to that I can remember. And then ever since then, I've just followed them religiously, honestly. And
Does your family? Do you ever come from a family of A's fans too, or was literally that game like the moment where? Like,
yeah, well, my dad's a
Yeah,
big A's
yeah.
fan. He's a big Oakland fan, actually.
Okay.
He grew, he was born and raised there. So that's
Yeah.
really what got me into the A's, really was all him. And then now I follow them religiously. So
Chris, fun fact, I don't think you know about this. Our parents, well, my mom and Xavier's dad actually like grew up together.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
And we didn't, and I had known Xavier for years by this point, but it wasn't until like we had a home softball league like in
Mhm.
2009. It wasn't until and John, Xavier's dad, was our pitcher, and my aunt and uncle were at the game for some reason. They were just like hanging out, like, hey, let's go watch whatever. And they're like, oh shit, is that Johnny? And then like
That's
I was
that's
like,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
That's super.
yeah,
random.
and
Full circle.
yeah, it's dude, that's so funny. You don't realize it really is like a rooted in an Oakland thing. There's so many people that have so many family connections. Like, oh yeah, shit, we used to hang out back in the '80s, back in the day,
Exactly.
or something.
You're going to always run into somebody from here on out that,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
shit,
It's
you
always
know,
like that.
blah, 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 back from the day in Oakland.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It's crazy. It is
So
really crazy.
you say you follow them religiously. So like what about them that makes you follow them so religiously? Like what makes
I
you
mean,
so
honestly, I mean,
interested
the
in
whole,
team in
the
baseball?
local hometown team,
Yeah.
I mean, they're gritty. To me, they represent Oakland. I mean, they don't have a lot of money to spend. I mean, historically. So, I mean, they try their hardest. They kind of remind me of like an NCAA team, football, basketball team, like, or just the whole style of NCAA. All the kids are playing their asses off, trying to make a name for themselves. I feel like that's, one of the rare qualities that, the A's have. You can't say that about a lot of teams, honestly.
Yeah. So then what's your favorite moment in not necessarily in person, but like just make your favorite A's moment growing up?
One of my favorite moments was probably when, I'm just gonna say it, back in 2012, Coco's Game 4 walk-off base hit.
That was fucking wild.
That was special.
I was,
had-
and
so-
also I was there too.
Were you really? No
Oh
way.
man, I was there. That was
I was watching
the
in my
craziest game I've
apartment
ever
in
been to.
Sacramento, and the cops got called on me because I was screaming so much. Like my neighbor called the cops and thought like someone was like getting their ass beat or something. I was like losing my mind, and it's like no way, oh my god, and just like yeah, that's crazy. You were there. You lucky.
It was
son of a
crazy. The
bitch.
Coliseum was absolutely going nuts.
Yeah,
I mean, we know that how loud it could be.
yeah.
It was probably my fondest memory, honestly, of being an A's fan.
That entire
Which-
season was hands down my favorite season.
It was a great season. I
Just
loved it. Winning
everything
that
about
game,
it. The game 162 and
Yeah.
just like and not expecting to be there. All these guys, just like these gritty young dudes, just like coming out of nowhere. Josh Reddick hitting 31 home runs. Never see that again.
Travis
I'll always-
Blackley picking him up. The
Travis
dude was
Blackley,
yeah,
yeah.
Travis
impactful.
Blackley was
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Steven Drew playing
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
Josh
I'll-
Donaldson losing his job in spring training, then winning it back in like what was that, July or something like that?
Yeah, with Brandon Inge.
Yeah.
Brandon Inge with the
Mhm.
walk-off grand slam. That was against the
Yeah.
Yankees.
That was a good
Always the biggest thing about that season I always remember was 162. I was at the SF State. You know, SF State's got a bar on campus, right?
Mhm.
I actually like left my class early because I was like, dude, I gotta watch. And
Yeah.
me and like one of my buddies in the class went to go watch. And I think what Sespi was the one that hit the pop up to center.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we like turned away. They were like, we turned away. We're like, fuck. All right, cool. Well, we got some runs. Like, drop one.
Yeah. I remember I was going to get beers down the street at the Rite Aid, and I was listening to that, and Vince Cotroneo was losing his mind. He dropped
Yeah.
it. He dropped it.
I was in the parking lot getting ready to go to work. And then there was
Really?
I had to listen to that whole game before I got in there. So
Yeah.
I texted my boss. I'm like, I'm going to be a little bit late, but I was in the parking lot. I told her there was traffic, but
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
no
yeah.
traffic. I had to listen to that.
Yeah.
So
Go
would
ahead.
that also feel like what was your best moment in person then? Was also the
Definitely.
Coco walk off? Okay.
Definitely.
Nice.
I would have to say that for sure.
Yeah, that was a pretty incredible game. And especially, I just remember like the enthusiasm from Josh Donaldson, Ryan Cook coming off the mound after they shut out their innings too, which was like just the excitement they had is fucking great.
Do you guys remember who? Sorry, real quick. Do you guys remember who started that game?
No, who did?
I believe it was
2012.
AJ Griffin.
Was it AJ?
Oh, AJ Griffin.
AJ
Wait,
Griffin.
2012, really?
Yeah.
Because 20
Wow.
there was a rotation. It was Brad Anderson,
Yeah.
Cologne, but he didn't pitch because he was suspended.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Parker,
Cahill.
Tommy Malone.
Oh no, Cahill was gone by then, wasn't he?
Yeah, Jared
Cahill was
Parker
on
and
the team,
Tommy
though.
Malone.
Yeah.
Because Jared Parker started game 1 of the ALDS. Tommy Malone started game 2. And then game 3 was Brett Anderson because he was finally healthy again.
I was at that game.
Yeah.
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 4, I believe, was Griffin.
I think you're
Damn.
right. Yeah.
Could be
Yeah.
wrong, but
Fuck, that's wild.
yeah.
All right, who's your favorite player?
I'm gonna go with Ricky,
Of all time, Ricky's a good one. That's mine too. That's my favorite
local hometown guy.
player.
I and then recently I looked up Ricky's stats because there was actually a podcast about him. ESPN did that. He didn't want to. He kept playing baseball. He was playing
The
these
30 for
independent-
31?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
I
yeah.
listened to that too. I love that episode.
That was a
Run,
good
Ricky,
one. That was
run?
really- yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. And then Dave Cowell was on it too. Fun fact. Anyways,
Yeah. He was the
So I
he was
looked
the
up Ricky's-
manager of that amateur
yeah, he started
baseball
it. He helped
team,
start it.
yeah,
I'm like, oh, that's
league,
pretty
yeah.
cool. And he actually got Ricky on one of his teams, so that's really cool. But anyways, yeah. So I looked up his stats and noticed, like, damn, Ricky came back 3 times to Oakland. So I mean, he really had that connection. He really wanted to be part of it, the A's for as long as he could.
He was
That's
born and
that's
raised
all
in
he
Oakland, man.
embodied. Exactly. That's the hometown team. His favorite team.
Yeah.
Jed Lowry heard that and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do it 3rd time. It's gonna be
Nah,
a third stick.
Yeah, fucking right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Julio,
Two is
who's your
enough.
favorite player? I don't think we ever discussed that.
It's between there's 2. So Barry Zito, the big 3 was like a kind of why I really fell in love with baseball. Was that
Yeah.
team had like the big 3 poster and like Barry Zito was just like the coolest dude in the world to me at the time. And you can see him up there. Sespi. Sespi's like
you got a gun to your head. You got to pick one.
pick one. Sespi.
Good pick.
Interesting.
I look.
3.5 seasons. That's all he played for the A's. 3.5 seasons.
No,
Got
yeah,
you in those
and
3.5 seasons, huh?
Something that I've kind of like I expressed frustration with you recently is like I feel like we're kind of missing fun, really exuberant characters with baseball with the A's.
Mhm.
And he was like that dude, especially when I saw his preseason hype video of him like roasting the pig and just like deadlifting like fucking like metal beams and stuff. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's awesome. And then his first game when they were playing in Japan in 2012, he hits a home run.
Yeah,
Like,
that was pretty cool.
This dude looks legit. And then he went on to win the back-to-back home run derby titles. I was at the game in Anaheim when he gunned out Howie Kendrick at home. The dude was just so much fun. Like, it's so much exciting. He truly loved Oakland. The crowd loved him. And I felt like 2014, like, that would have been a World Series team if you didn't trade him. I know, we're always going to speculate. We're never going to know, but like, that guy was the soul of that team at the end of the day.
I think if
and
you
every
asked
team
most
kind
A's
of,
fans, they would agree with you on that take.
yeah. And like most teams, you need those guys. There's a reason why dudes like Hunter Pence were around for the Dodgers or for the Giants all those years. Look like Kike Hernandez with the Dodgers. You need those guys to really just gonna be like the energy lifters and just really fun and exuberant. And like, Sespe was just always so much fun. So
remember that game in Oakland, the first opening day they hit that bomb above the suites.
Dude, that's he was hit home runs that like now we're starting to see a little more with like Ollie and Chapman who can hit bombs too, but like he has hit shit like we hadn't seen since like McGuire.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where you had to stop what you're doing and watch his at bat.
It's like his home runs were kind of like Steph Curry threes, where like you're gonna brace yourself for a second, like, oh shit.
The bat speed, dude, because you see it and it just fucking whips around. You're just like, oh shit, like this ball, if he hits this ball, that's going.
Yep, exactly.
All right, cool. Let's hop into the segment then. This segment's gonna be called Report Card Time. So we're gonna go through each position and discuss, give our grades for it. So I think we'll start it off with catcher, being that is technically position number. Well, it's technically position number 2, but we'll leave the pitchers for the end. Catcher, Julio, what do you grade the catcher position this season?
We had our catching triplets with Sean Murphy, 4th place and runner-up, Jonah Heim, as well as Austin Allen. I'm going to give them a B-. I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I obviously to me the expectations were pretty low going into this season. I was kind of hoping that even back like in pre-COVID February, January, I was hoping we would sign a vet. I know there were some grumblings of like Stephen Vogt or something like that, just to kind of teach these guys. And I was a little nervous going to the season. The first few weeks hadn't really panned out, but then something happened when they made that switch from Austin Allen to Jonah Heim, and the rotation started pitching better with Heim, and then Sean Murphy just became like a fucking offense colossus behind the plate. So if it wasn't for that last month, it would probably be like a C. But because of like that switch and seeing like Sean Murphy's going to be like the franchise, like cornerstone along with Ramon and Chappie and Ollie. So, but I would give it like a B-.
All right, Xavier, what about you?
I'm gonna give it a B, honestly. I mean, I do like Sean Murphy. He's had his first full season. I mean, 60 games, but he really improved throughout the season. I mean, towards the end, he was really having good at bats. He was seeing good pitches. He was making good contact behind the plate. He was calling good games. He's very good defensively, and he's only going to get better. He's got a strong arm. So I really believe that Sean Murphy is the future for us. And Jonah Heim, too, honestly. Jonah Heim, he had that big hit. I forgot who it was, but he had a walk-off this past season. But, I mean, he came in clutch. And then I feel like if you give him more at-bats, more playing time, he's just going to improve.
Yeah, I honestly I feel I'm a lot more high. I'm higher on that position than you guys are. I gave it an A-. I was very impressed by Sean Murphy. I didn't come into the season like I know he was our number 2 prospect, but I didn't come into the season like expecting him to just be like the stud instantly. Like that's never how our rookie prospects work. You know, like we don't have the guys that are like Chris Bryant, who just like are instantly like they're good, they're rookie of the year candidates or rookie of the year, but they're not just like these stars immediately. So I was like, okay, cool. Sean Murphy's gonna get into his zone, get into a rhythm, but he'll have success behind the calling games and whatnot, and having this like chemistry with the pitchers because these are all the young pitchers that he's been coming up with and catching. So I'm not worried about that. And his bat struggled a little bit at the beginning, but obviously, it really picked up in the playoffs. It was phenomenal. He was like our most like reliable hitter. It felt like in the playoffs.
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
so clutch. And on top of that, like our number 2 catcher spot, it's a kind of a problem, but it's a good problem to have. I feel good about both Austin Allen and Jonah Heim, no matter which way Bob Melvin decides to go with. Like I'm happy with the results for both those guys, backing up Sean Murphy. And if Sean Murphy gets hurt, taking the spot as the lead guy. Both of them did really well this year. I was a little surprised when Austin Allen got brought down and they brought up Jonah Heim, because I thought Austin Allen was playing really well. So I'm really excited for this position. I think it's going to be like definitely something not to worry about in the future, but also something to be excited about with our team. And like I told you, Leo, with our disappointment podcast after the playoff game, like if they don't re-sign Marcus Semien, I'm gonna buy a Sean Murphy jersey. He is my new favorite player if Marcus is gone. So yeah, I'm just A- for me. Julio,
All right. Well, I think
looked like you're gonna say okay, cool, yeah.
I'd say we probably have like as a whole, probably like a solid B then between the three of us.
Average, yeah.
Which is like, yeah, no, like I think this is probably the position that to me probably overperformed from what I thought they were going to be.
Yeah,
exactly. And then you feel like across the league, there's not a lot of people who have this good problem we have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we're very lucky.
All right, let's move on to first base. Go ahead, Julio. And I've already
Ollie.
A little bit. Yeah.
I give it a B. Solid B.
Oh, really?
Well, okay. Hear me out. And that's the thing. I think because of the 60 game schedule and how of a fraction of a season is, Ollie average wise is not going to hit as bad as he did this year, where he's like a bordering 200 hitter, where historically the last few seasons he's hit like 270s, 280s. So because of that, I think that's going to bring down the grade, but like power wise, he still was smashing the shit out of the ball. Defensively, he was of course an anchor at first. Didn't win the Gold Glove, but honestly, there's going to be so many more that are going to be coming his way. And it felt like to me once like Chappie went out, it seemed like there was a lot more pressure on him to kind of perform offensively, and that's when it really started becoming a little more apparent that like the struggles were there for him this season. I don't think this is anything I think me and the rest of us and the rest of A's fans are going to be worried about for the long term. The biggest thing when it comes to seeing kind of downfalls with stuff like this in the seasons, like it's such a small sample size of a season. We can't really like dwell too much on it. So because of that, I would honestly give him a higher grade if he had a hit at least like 240 or 250. But the fact that his batting average is so atrocious throughout the season, I'd give him a B. But at the same time, you still take him over majority of first basemen in baseball.
Oh, definitely.
Go ahead, Xavier. I'll save it for mine. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a B plus. Defensively, Olsen, and to me, he's the best first base defender across the whole league. I think he's better than Freddie Freeman. Not taking away anything from Freddie, but I think Olsen has him beat in defensively. He's smart. You see a few times during this 60 game season where he would get a ground ball and he fires it over to third. Like he has that baseball knowledge, that high baseball IQ. He's always aware. He knows where the next play is going to be before he even gets the ball. And that's very important to have. Offensively, yeah. I mean, I feel like he's just so far when he's been up in the league, he has shown tremendous power. His batting average is going to be around 250. It seems like that's just what we've been seeing is like as far as maybe his batting stance. I feel like his batting stance maybe gets in the way a little bit. He has the bat pretty high up, and then all that movement prior to the pitch, I feel like that takes away. That could mess away his timing against fastballs, which we've seen. Fastball pitchers just blow by. Just stick with the fastball and just throw it by him. So. I just feel like that maybe if he alters it a little bit, then we'll see a little bit more contact with the ball. But I mean, overall, I'd give it a B plus for sure.
That's a good call out with this is stance, because I feel like it is a little extra more so. Like he's kind of doing a little too much with. He does have like a hand up and like we knows if he's going to be going against guys you're going to be throwing heat, you're not going to have a lot of time to adjust to that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he really shortens up,
Yeah. I can't get over the strikeouts. So I just can't. I can't give it that high. I mean, the dude has had 77 strikeouts. That's the 5th most in Major League Baseball. Like, it's just I can't. I just can't. I can't get over it, dude. So I gave it a C+ strictly because of the defensive respect, because he is hands down the best defensive first baseman in all of baseball. How he didn't get a Gold Glove this season is just a fucking. It's just a robbery, in my opinion. Like, he should be a shoo-in for that award for the next 10 years. But yeah, the strikeouts I just can't get over. I get it's only a 6-game season, but like it felt like he either struck out or hit a bomb. Like it's frustrating.
Jack
And
Cuss. Remember that guy?
and he came off a season where he
Jack Cuss.
Yeah. He came off a season where he was so disciplined. Like last year, so his rookie season, he was very undisciplined. He struck out a lot. Last year, he was, or not his rookie season, his sophomore season. And then his sophomore season, he was a lot more he wasn't very disciplined, struck out a ton. Last season, he really worked on that, had a lot more discipline, was walking a lot more, wasn't striking out. And then this season, he completely abandoned it. I get it, and I agree. I think it's the same thing. It was when Chapman went out, it was like, okay, our best player's gone. I need to step up and bring these runs in because we can't rely on him. I need to be the best player. And he tried to play hero ball, and he struck out too much. And like, mentally, it's a little bit of a mess hitting is for him because he's all over the place. So I just can't. I gave it a C+ again out of defensive respect. Second base, interesting. We made a move midway through the season, so this is definitely probably going to affect our grades. What was the overall on that one? Is that so probably B-?
B-, yeah. So around the B- range, which is again, I think this isn't something we should be too worried about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just tweaks in the batting average or in his stance.
Exactly.
Getting back the patience, he'll be good.
And when Chappie's back in the lineup, it's not going to be as much pressure on him. It's going to be a
definitely
different
not.
game. But if Marcus doesn't come back, then who knows? That could be adding a different pressure to him. So there's a lot of, there's some factors that are involved here. All right, second base again. Had a midseason move. Julio, where are you at?
Straight up, I'm gonna be honest, dude. A-. I love.
You're forgetting the first 30 games where we're trotting out Chad Pinder, Tony Kemp, and
Nadorf.
Yeah, and
look,
your boy,
okay. So here's the deal.
Your boy,
Tony Kemp,
Machine.
If you saw Machine, he's a pick a machine. Yeah. Look, let's be real. If we go into the season, our expectations all right, we're probably gonna have a hole at second. You'll take it. You have everywhere else is pretty much solid ground covered in terms of who's playing where and the production you get out of it. You take that any other day. So when Tony Kemp came in and he was fine. He did a good enough job. Doing a good enough job where he was playing decent defense. He wasn't really affecting the team offensively where he was kind of making things worse. He was pretty average. So cool. C+. But then when Tommy La Stella came in, it was holy shit. I didn't realize how important it is to have somebody like him in the lineup where you saw, game changer. The guy was extremely patient at the plate. You saw he struck out once or twice during the regular season as an Oakland A. When Marcus was at missing time, and then when Chappie was out and the Ramona's out, you had somebody you could rely on at the top of the lineup who was going to get you on base, and you can start getting to run production out of there from the beginning. The only dink that I don't really like about him is he is not the best ranged infielder. And it was pretty evident during the Astros series in the playoffs where normal balls where maybe Pinder would get it, or if Marcus was on that side of the field, he'd be able to get it. He wasn't there. So it's a little sketchy in that sense. But when you're surrounded, when you have a full healthy team and hopefully Marcus comes back, and when you're surrounded by gold gloves galore in that infield, it's going to relieve that pressure for him in the future if he does come back as well. And if he doesn't come back, then he probably deserves whatever he's going to get paid, because I would imagine so many teams are going to be willing to kind of pay up a little bit more than what he's usually used to.
I don't want don't want to get the listeners' hopes up, but everything I'm reading says that they're more or less a deal is done with the A's. He's coming back. It's just a matter of how long and how much. But it's looking like around like 2 years, like $14 million. So I would say
it was.
I would feel good about him coming back next season.
Deservingly
You can-
so. He deserves it.
Yeah, you can make the argument that like he probably like saved a playoff run to get into the playoffs at all, because like with Chappie getting hurt, Marcus was being out, and then when the A's got that COVID outbreak, he was kind of the guy that was kind of steering the ship to keep them even killed throughout those like that week or two run. So yeah, because of that dude, I'm a huge fan of him. Hopefully he comes back. I'm giving him an A-, or the second base position A-.
All right, Xavier, are you more modest, or are you hyping it as well? Are you forgetting the first
I mean,
30 games?
he's definitely an asset if he comes back for sure. I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay.
More so his eye at the plate, his ability at the plate. Like you
Dude.
say, he didn't really strike out, which is phenomenal. And then he's a good leadoff guy. I mean, if Simeon doesn't come back, he's going to be number one in my opinion. He just has good at bats. He's smart at the plate. He plays situational baseball up at the plate. He shortens up at 2 strikes. He doesn't do too much. He goes with the pitches to left field if he has to. A solid B. Defensively, yeah. I mean, I feel like he's not there defensively, like maybe he was like past second basemans we had, such as like Mark Ellis. But I mean, he definitely fills a hole over there. And then we don't have to worry about throwing Tony Kemp or
But
Chad
he's
Bender
not
out
bad. He's above average. Like he's a solid second baseman defensively. Like it's not like he. I would say he's in the top third of second basemen in the league.
there. True, but I mean, also I feel like towards the end of the year and even in the playoffs, the A's kind of had more trouble turning too.
Yeah.
And then he was a big piece of that, turning the ball and throwing it to first.
Yeah.
So,
For me,
but I mean, he'll improve.
For me, I'm also a lot more modest. I gave it a B because if it was Tommy La all year, it's an A+. Like the guy is going to be potentially an all-star for us the next 2 years. Like he just killed it this season for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not hating on Tony Kemp and Chad Pinder, especially not Chad Pinder. I love him. I mean, he was the hero for us in the wild card series, and he was big in the playoffs. But he was not getting it done in the first 30 games of the season, which is the reason why they traded for Tom La. Like the guys were not getting it done, and we can't forget that their averages were like 220, both of those guys, and like it's just we have to be realistic here. So because La was so good, and because Pinder and Kemp weren't, I mean, they probably would have got a D+ in my book, to be completely honest with you. It just
And Barreto,
it out a little bit.
former Oakland great now.
Barreto. Yeah. So it's a C, it's a B, a solid B for me. So let's move on to third base. So
overall B+ then.
Yeah,
rating on a scale
because you graded so fucking high.
I wanted to give somebody a high grade, and I think that's out of anybody
you saved
and
half
anybody
the class.
offensively.
Good job.
There you go, group project.
Yeah. So third base, we had obviously Matt Chapman had an injury 2/3 of the season. So mixing it up a little bit here, Julio. Where are you at?
A
little bit of Jake Lamb, a little bit of Chad Pinder, mixing it up.
Visal Machine, my dude, picking Machine. No, I if it was just Matt Chapman, if we were going off his what he had been doing, I'd probably go like C+, B-, because offensively he wasn't great. He's had the same problem as Matt Olson. He was just striking out a ton. His discipline was gone, low average. His power was coming then here and there, but then when we figured out it was his hip, then it all came together. But of course the glove's going to save them. But then, dude, freaking Jake Lamb turned into Rake Lamb in Oakland. And he really kind of saved that position. So I think overall would be a B-. Jake did not have, obviously, the defensive prowess that Matt Chapman does, but I think he was pretty much on par of what you would expect Chappie would have been offensively, at least in those last few weeks. He kind of bailed out the team as well. I can't remember which game specifically where he hit like a double and a home run in the same game, like middle of October. And he's kind of one of those same guys that like, dude, he was cut from the Diamondbacks. He was a former All-Star. He got a second chance in Oakland, and I doubt he's going to come back just because of what the team needs are going to be and what the depth chart will look like. So I hope that like somebody's going to pay him out and he can at least get a deal somewhere else, because he's shown like he's still got it. He's still major league ready guy.
Yeah.
So overall, B-.
All right, Xavier.
I'm gonna give it a C, honestly. I mean, it would be different if Chapman was healthy. Obviously, I feel like his numbers at the plate would be a lot better, but it took that one game when he had 5 strikeouts to realize, oh, he's got a hit problem. So, I mean, we knew all prior to that, then like, wow, this guy doesn't have it this year. And come to find out he's got that hit problem. But I mean, I feel like prior to Jake Lamb, I mean, we were throwing machine out there. He wasn't bad. I mean, I feel like he was holding it down for a rookie a little bit. I mean, I feel like if he got more playing time, he'd improve definitely. But then when Jake Lamb came in, I was like, oh wow, we needed this kind of caliber player. He came in and immediately just started hitting. That change of scenery really helped him out. And then, so I mean, I felt like he was solid. He was honestly a solid replacement for Matt Chapman during that year, and even down the stretch in the postseason. I was really impressed by his play, and I mean, I couldn't believe the Diamondbacks cut him. I mean, I really couldn't believe that. We stole that guy.
Really that's the biggest thing is like what's happening in Arizona where somebody like him, like they kind of gave up on him.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And he had a lot of ball left. He just needed a change of scenery, and then he really helped us.
I feel like that happens a lot for the A's. Like they always take those guys who just need a change of scenery, and it like completely turns their game around.
Yeah, that's what we're known for, right?
So for me, it's a C+. Whenever you lose your best player and you have to replace it with someone else, you're definitely downgrading. Doesn't matter who it is. Like, and that is part of my grade. Also, like Chapman was having a rough fucking year, like you said, Xavier. Batting wise, I mean, he was hitting bombs. I think he like led the team in bombs for a long time with like 13 or something like that. But like, it's just his batting average was piss poor. He was great defensively. He always is. So I think even if he doesn't get replaced, I'm still grading it like around a C or C+. Jake Lamb was fantastic. When we got him, I didn't expect much. Julio was hyping him up to me over text a lot and being like, he's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. He's going to turn around. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit? And he was really impressive. He was very hit or miss sometimes, but when he was on, he was fucking fire. And his hits are so timely. That's the most important thing about him. Like, he really got some big hits and some wins that we really needed it. And he came up big in the playoffs too when we needed him a couple times. So, yeah, I mean, it's a C+. I hope Chappie's going to be okay in the offseason. Sounds like everything's going fine. So, and he can return next year and be another MVP candidate like he is.
So overall, what are you feeling, like a C+ or C- ish?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Or C+, B- ish.
C+, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say C+. I'll agree with them there. C for Chapman. There you go.
There you go. Shortstop, the man, the myth, the legend, the captain, Marcus Semien. No one else played any games at that position this year.
No, he was out.
This year? No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was out for like he was out for a couple of games this year.
Yeah, he was.
I think, yeah,
I'll look that up.
My dude, Vismael Pachin was in there.
Yeah, he was thrown in there, and then you had Lamb playing third.
Pachin.
All right, Julio, you go first.
Oh, you love it. I'd probably go C+. Marcus was. It seemed like if there was anybody we're kind of giving the most.
He missed 7 games, so relax over there.
Cool. Anyways, if there was anybody we probably had the loftiest expectations for this season, was probably him, especially what he did in 2019, finishing third in MVP, coming into contract year. I'm like, all right, he's going to come in, he's going to tear it up, he's going to leave and get paid somewhere. But I guess luckily, but also like not lucky of us that he kind of had a down year. Defensively, he had his moments still where he he kind of lost his confidence that he'd been building up the last couple of years. The bat took a little bit to really come alive again, like it did in last year, where he hit 33 home runs, compared to, again, small sample, 7 this year. But in the postseason, he turned it back on again. He turned into what we know who he is. Even before the 2019 MVP season, 2018, he looked like he was coming along. 2017, he was coming along, and it was exciting to see him turn into what he could be. But just the regular season, thankfully, the rest of the team was kind of carrying when his bat wasn't there, especially at the top of the lineup. Overall, though, I'd give him a C+. Again, it's probably going to benefit us in the long run, because if he ends up staying in Oakland and takes a cheaper deal, it's probably because of like the falls he had during the season.
Xavier?
I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna give it a B. I mean, I think he means so much to the team.
B for Bejarano.
Yeah.
All you do is throw B's, man.
Yeah, man. So I feel like he just means so much. I mean, he's playing Gold Glove caliber shortstop. And considering where he came in when he first started, man, this guy couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. This guy was just awful. But then, Ron Washington worked his magic, and then he helped turn him into the player he is now. And then plus he's a local kid, Berkeley. So I mean, once again, he's playing for his hometown team, and then he just means so much more, not just to the A's, but to the community. And just to see him lose, maybe re-sign with somebody else. I mean, it's one of those heartbreaking feelings that, us A's fans are accustomed to, unfortunately. But I feel like, I mean, if he were to leave, we just would not have a solid replacement to play that position. And so that's why I'm giving him a B, just because what he can do at the plate, what he can do on the field. I mean, this guy's hit. It was on a hidden tear last season.
Mm-hmm.
He really helped bring in some clutch runs. He had some clutch hits. I mean, he doesn't do too much with the ball either. He's going with the outside pitch to right field. He's not trying to pull it. He does have power. I'm gonna give it a B, and hopefully we can re-sign him. I did see a report on MLB trade rumors that someone's going to offer him big money. So it means he's expected to get big money, because this is a shortstop that the free agent market hasn't seen come out in a while. So just wish him the best. If he does leave for the money, hey, he deserved it. My hat's off to you.
I give a B-. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth, Xavier. It's just, I think the main thing, I get that he had his moments defensively, but more or less he was the stud that he has been the past few years. He had a few bad plays, one of them being in the wild card game, which probably cost us a win in that series, or ALDS, sorry, which probably cost us a win in game 2. But for the most part, he was the anchor, and what he means to this team, just in general, in all aspects of his game, and in all aspects of his leadership in the clubhouse. I think Mark Canna said it best when he said, "He's our captain. He's a great person. He's a great friend, or he's a great player, and he's a great friend." Like, that's really, like, that just, it means something. And think about the weight that he had to carry this season with Chappie going out, Matt Olson having his struggles at the plate. It's like, I feel like a lot of pressure was on him as the leader of the team to kind of like carry the offense and carry, them like kind of to the finish line in order to make it to the postseason. And I think that did affect his performance a little bit at the plate and on defensively. So, like, I don't carry too much weight on what he did offensively this season as I do with other guys on the team because of, again, all the things that I said with his leadership and what he means to that team and how much weight he has to carry on his shoulders. There are, as an Oakland A's fan, you expect guys to leave, and you don't try to get too emotionally attached. And there are certain guys that come around once in a while that it hurts when they leave. It legitimately does. Jason Giambi was one of those guys. Miguel Tejada, maybe, I don't know, maybe not so much. Barry Zito was one of those guys. This one is gonna hurt if he goes, which he probably is. This one is gonna hurt. This one's probably gonna hurt the most of all those guys for me. So it's hard to give him lower than a B, man, because of just how much he means, And I gotta give respect to the dude, and also just being a voice and a black man on that team, a black American during a year of racial, justice movement, or not justice, racial. I don't know, for lack of a better word.
Racial injustice.
Yeah, racial injustice movement, and so I think that's important. So yeah, that's my take. B-. So what are we averaging out on that one?
You've sold me. I'd say solid B-. I think there's a lot of, you brought up a lot of the good points that dude, he does so much off the field intangibles that we don't see every day that really are a huge impact with that team. So,
and with that team,
and he just also kind of made me really sad thinking about fuck, we might lose this.
And that team just struggling offensively in the middle of the season, that's just so much weight for him to carry to try and rally those guys. No wonder why he couldn't hit as well this year. Because, last year everything was running smoothly, so it wasn't as much pressure. All right, let's move to the outfield. I'll start off with left field, of course. All right, Julio.
Left field, guys are pretty good this year. I'm going to give them a B+. If we're going to go, if the outfield, a left field platoon of Robbie Grossman and Mark Canha. Robbie was kind of the reverse Marcus in the sense of contract year, you're going to play up. And Robbie was awesome. He had arguably the best offensive season he's had.
Yeah, he was one of our most reliable hitters. It was insane.
Yeah, for the longest time. We've always relied on him with the glove. We know what he was able to do out there. But offensively, he was pretty freaking killer. I have the numbers in front of me. Sorry about that. Okay, so end of the season didn't go great. He ended up hitting 241. But for the first month and a half, 2 months or so, he was probably the most consistent hitter in that lineup outside of Ramon. Mm-hmm. And he's a plus defender. You're going to take that every day of the week, especially in a left field position where you're going to have so many right-handed hitters coming up and over there. Mark Canha, on the other hand, he didn't really hit average-wise, and a lot of people who don't really look past the basic numbers. It sounds really pretentious of me, but I don't mean to come off that way. But a lot of people that don't look back the basic metrics like that, you're saying he sucked this year, but he was still a pretty big on-base percentage monster. We saw how patient he was at the plate, constantly taking
37 walks this season. It's a ton.
Yeah.
For 60 games.
Yeah. So he averaged every other game he got a walk, which is pretty freaking awesome and something that this lineup needs. So he gets on base, and what do we do? Somebody
get on base.
You get on base.
There we go. All right. And he was fantastic with that. He's still a pretty good defender. We saw what he did during the game 2 or game 3 of the wild card series. And it's also, Robbie's probably going to be gone, but my hopes are that I think Canha has finally proved time and time again. We have all these different platoons. Dude, just keep him out there every day. I know Bowmill really likes his matchups, but I think he's kind of matchup proven because we saw in the shortened season, his average not there. But if you put him in, I don't think he's fast enough to be a leadoff hitter, but if you put him in a 2-hole, the dude's going to get on base no matter what. He's going to be in a potential position where he's going to have the chance to score because of how great he is at getting up there. So overall, B+, both great defenders. Offensively, they didn't put up the gaudiest numbers, but they did what they had to do.
I feel like he kind of won that position last year. I just think that Bob Melvin's really big on like giving guys rest out there because it's a lot of wear and tear on your body running around all that covering all that
Especially in
ground.
Oakland with the foul grounds and everything too.
All right, Xavier, what about you?
I'm gonna go C+, above average.
Interesting.
Grossman did exceed expectations for that first month. Considering that last year he had a down year last year.
Yeah.
I mean, last year when he came up, like, man, this guy's going to hit a double play, or man, we need a big hit. He's not going to do it. But this year he really saw the ball well. Once again, he wasn't doing too much. We did see a little bit of power from him too, which was pretty surprising, honestly. He did have a good glove out there, and I also did like the Canna platoon. I mean, Canna is pretty good defensively. I mean, his arm isn't really there, but I mean, he does have good defensive knack out there. He can see the ball out there, and at the plate, he was really seeing the ball well. His eye really improved. Like he was taking some incredible takes. Like, wow, how did you know that ball? It looked like it was like a few inches off the plate, maybe an inch, and then he guessed right. So I feel like we need to keep Canna. I know he's got only 1 year left on his contract. If we can re-sign him, then that would be a big plus for depth, and even give him the starting role next season in left field.
The only thing is we got 2 outfielders coming up that are pretty solid prospects, and Sky Bolt and I forget the other guy's name.
Seth Brown?
No, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so the reality is he's probably going to walk after that season because they're going to bring up these 2 guys who are more or less ready to start playing. You were going to say something, Julio?
Yeah. So you talked about the bat. I had to look it up real quick. He hit 8 home runs this year in a 60-game season. So if this is a full season, he'd be on pace for like 20 or so.
That's pretty good.
His previous career high was 11. So he was 3 away in a shortened season. So
he's going to blow through that next season. If you give him a full season, he's going to blow through 11.
Oh, you're talking about Robbie Grossman, though, right?
No, Robbie. No, yeah. Canna,
Canna hit 5.
Yeah, Canna hit 5. I'm saying, I think last year he had 26. I had in front of me a second. No, Robbie Grossman hit 8. So a career high 11. He was right there. He's probably not going to come back, but I think a lot of teams will take somebody like him easily.
For sure.
Definitely
contending teams who need help in the outfield. All right, I'm giving it a B+. I'm higher on that. I think that Robbie Grossman was good the first month when we needed him to be good. Like when those guys were struggling, our stars, and it was pretty much the Ramon Laureano, Mark Canna, and Robbie Grossman show. It was like the outfield was the only ones who were contributing to the offense, and they were really bringing in runs when you needed them to. Grossman, we know what he can do with his glove. His arm's not great, but we know what he can do with his glove, and he covers a lot of ground. He exceeded that again this year. Mark Canna, I mean, like the guy just fucking walks, and it's great. Like he just sees the ball so well, and he has so much discipline. Like last year, his OBP was 296. This year, he repeated it again, 287. Like his average wasn't great, but it's a shortened season, and we also got to remember we play in Oakland Coliseum, so you could argue that a typical average, you bring it down like 10 to 15 points. Like this is a full season, he's probably hitting 255, which is fantastic for him. I mean, like he hit 273 last year, but 255 in the Oakland Coliseum is a great average. He only had 5 home runs, but he walked 37 times. The guy has so much great plate discipline, and he gets the hits when you need him. Covers a lot of ground in the outfield. I disagree with you about his arm, Xavier. I feel like he has a big arm. He played right field a lot, and his arm is accurate. His throws are always right on point, whether he has the strength to get him there or not. They're always right there. I am really high on. I'm not worried about this position moving forward, like at all.
He's also a big proponent in bat flip season.
Yes.
Yeah.
He also
good point. He likes to have fun out there.
Oh yeah, big time. And off the field stuff, we don't really know too much of what the A's do their personal life. To see his Instagram, Big League Foodie, and see all the places he's going it, dude. That's like, I love that shit.
What does he do?
Wait, do you not follow him?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, I'll follow him, dude. He's a huge foodie. He's like whenever they're, so like during the regular seasons, whenever they're traveling, he'll just find out any like really highly rated restaurants. He'll do like little mini food reviews on there. He's like a huge food head.
Nice.
So even like when they were in Japan, I think like Bomel had been there before, so he was taking him to the spots in Tokyo to go check out. He's easily like the best person to follow on Instagram, besides Sean Mania when he was posting that he was buying vodka when they were going to quarantine in March.
All right, let's move on to center field. Ramon.
Overall, hold on. Overall,
Oh
B?
We didn't do that.
yeah. So I got him a
'Cause
B
I
plus.
I
What
gave
did
him
you
B
give him?
plus.
And
C
what'd you give
plus
him?
for me.
C plus. Oh yeah, so a B. Okay.
B.
That's
All right,
good.
cool.
Yeah. All right. Center field Ramon Laureano. He only missed 5 games, so we'll just say that he pretty much played that position all season, and 5 games, obviously, for the bullshit suspension that he got. Or no, 4 games. 4 games. All right, Julio. What do you think of Ramon this season?
Tell of 2 seasons, man.
Mm-hmm. Remember we
I'm
were
gonna give him-
calling the player of the week the Ramon Laureano, the honorary Ramon Laureano player of the week award, just because we were giving it to him like the first 3 weeks.
Dude, those first 3 weeks this season, it's like, oh shit, he's here. Like this guy's gonna be a potential MVP candidate.
Yeah.
He's gonna be an all-star. He was pretty much the spark plug at the top of the lineup, and something happened. Something happened that day with Alex Centrone with the skirmish that broke out, where he just wasn't the same player after that. The glove is still there. Obviously, he was a top 3 Gold Glove finalist and center. We should have known how great of a defender he was because of how well he defended his mother's name to Alex Centrone. But yeah, he just kind of fell into the same problem a lot of the lineup was falling into, was just like they were being super responsible at the plate, just constantly swinging. They were kind of getting tied up. He was kind of getting tied up in like hero ball, where I'm just gonna hit the ball as far as I can and see if it gets out.
Yeah.
And he was still doing his job in the field, so obviously you're gonna give him the credits there. But something happened to him, and I don't know how to describe what it was. And I don't know if we're ever gonna know mentally, or just I don't know if just taking that much time off in a shortened season really affected him. Who knows? So overall, I'm going to give him a C. If this was beginning of the year, Ramon, and he stayed at that, A freaking plus throughout the roof.
Definitely.
But just it was a tale of 2 seasons. It was a little concerning going forward. Obviously, the guys can be stud out there. We know what he's going to do, but it was just a weird thing. It was like a freaking Friday situation.
It's a weird season of this team in general. All right, Xavier, how are you feeling?
I'm going to go to C as well. I mean, yeah, like Julio said, before the suspension, this guy was just on a tear.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was just on fire. He was hitting the ball every which way, making solid contact, hitting laser Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that brawl, he was he lost it, and then he just became part of the bottom third of the lineup.
Yeah,
and you just hated to see that because you know how much potential this guy has, and then he was just having an off season right after that. But I mean, I'm not worried about it. I feel like next year he's going to have a way better, completely opposite year. His glove is still there, his arm is still there, so I mean, he does have the pieces still. I mean, he's young too, so I mean, he just had a bad season, and plus it was very shortened. So I mean, maybe that pressured him to hit,
The dude's 26 years old. He's
Yeah,
under
he's young.
contract until 2025. Like, we don't have to worry about. He doesn't even have he's not even arbitration eligible until 2022. Like,
Yeah, he's going to open that new stadium for us.
yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. We all giving the same grade? We are. We all give it a C.
Is this the first? I think this is the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all giving a C.
Wow.
C for Chris. Hey, you said the B for him earlier. Yeah, I mean it. Like I know we keep saying it, but like we can't under exaggerate enough. Like literally the second of the Centrone fight, it's like just a switch happened with him, and he was just from our best player to like our biggest liability at the plate. It made no sense at all. I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know if Centrone like knocked him in. They didn't actually fight, but I don't know if it knocked him in his brain and just like fucked up his like sense of like of seeing the strike zone or what, but it was like it was like two different guys this season. I mean, he ended the season at hitting 213. It's brutal. It's a bummer, but yeah, his glove was still there. His arm was still there. He's still a defensive stud out there. He's going to win a Gold Glove one of these days. He's a human highlight reel defensively, just throwing out guys left and right. I love how just the A's in general have this reputation because of Ramon, because of Canna, because of Biscotti, all having these like big arms. I like how the A's no one runs on us anymore. Did you guys notice that in the playoffs? Like they held up guys at
Big
third
time.
regularly in the playoffs. Like because we just have this reputation of throwing guys out that no one wants to run on us. He's the reason why, because he's a human highlight reel when it comes to his arm. It's insane. I love it. So yeah, it's a C for me. And I'm not worried about it either. It's a weird season. He'll come back. He'll hit like 280 with like 25 to 30 home runs next season. I'm not too worried about it. He's one of our building blocks and our stars moving forward. So it'll be fine. All right, right field. I don't know. They kind of like rotated around a lot, but it was mostly Piscotty. You know. I don't know. What about you? What do you say, Julio?
This is probably, I know you're a big Piscotti guy, so we're probably going to run into some controversy here. Honestly, after kind of looking more about it, I'm going to give him a C overall. There was a time, and I'll be real with you guys. I was not excited for Piscotti this season. He had a pretty disappointing year last year where he was hurt, and even when he was playing, he wasn't playing great compared to 2018 where he hit
27 home runs,
27 home runs
average.
Yeah, so freaking awesome. Yeah, really. And he had a pretty disappointing year last year, so I was kind of nervous about what's going to happen with this season. But there was a point to the season where he looked fantastic. He was probably our most consistent hitter when we really needed him to be, when it was like the middle of August or like end of August, beginning of September. He also hit the go-ahead grand slam against the Giants. So shout out to him for that. That was awesome. One of my favorite moments of the season. But there's some stuff that if you look at him overall, you might have to be a little concerned about it. His on-base percentage was significantly down from the last two seasons. Slugging percentage was down.
He's never he's never been a big OBP guy though.
Yeah. He struck out 53 times, which our team, if there's anything we really got to fix going forward, is like you got to figure out how the hell we're going to be plate disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to have. He's probably going to be better than what we can get, to be realistic, and what we have in our farm right now. But this is something that we should probably be a little more aware of. Obviously, we all love him. We're so excited for him to come back to the East Bay. Another hometown hero. But if we're going to need a little more consistent play throughout the season, if we want to be, because we saw what Houston easily just knocked us out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're going to need a little more consistent play from his position like that. So I still have faith in them. I think he can still do it, but there's some things to be nervous about. So I'm going to give him a C overall.
What about you, X?
I'm gonna give him a C-, man. He's good defensively. He has a strong arm, but at the plate, he seems like another liability. This past season he didn't really produce as he did the year before. I mean, he's getting $7.5 million this year, $7.5 next year. And for the A's, that's a lot of money. I mean, that jumps up to $15 million in 2023. So if he's still doing this, putting out the same level of production, he's going to be gone. That's just too much money to be giving that guy if he's not going to be producing consistently. But I'm rooting for the guy. Like I said, like you guys said, there's going to be plenty of time for him to turn around, especially with a 162 game season, hopefully. But I'm not going to hold my breath, honestly. I know he's a local kid, but we need guys to produce, and I just feel like at the plate, he's just hasn't been there. So, that's just why I'm giving him that C-.
He's a very streaky hitter. That's kind of his thing. A lot like a lot of our best guys. All of our best guys, except for like Marcus, are very streaky hitters. Um, I just love Piscotty so much, man. I want him to turn around. But yeah, this was a tough season for him at the plate. He's a veteran, and you need to be able to rely on him too. So like he's gotta figure this one out. We got him for 2 more seasons. 3 more seasons actually. Hopefully he can turn it around and figure it out. But yeah, I mean, there's not any better. Who would you rather have out there? Chad Pinder? Like, I don't know. I like Chad Pinder as the utility guy.
Yeah. There's nobody within we can do that.
And he's reliable defensively out there. You know that he's going to cover that ground and he's going to throw guys out. So it's just like, the more we talk about it, it sounds like it's a Darren Bush issue that we've had this season. Like he's got to put together a better game plan for these pitchers because like the hitting issues are it's just straight streakiness, and like we can't have streaky hitters. Like if we want to win, get past the American League Divisional Series, like our hitters can't be this inconsistent. It's just not going to happen.
It's just one of those things we talked about when we were doing the pre-show. It's like, dude, it's because we thought there was going to be a much more of a higher turnover with managers this year, and there wasn't. It's like it's just so small of a sample size, and like who is the reality is like our hitters really aren't that great, or is it Darren Bush is going to be kind of not a great hitting coach? We're going to find out next year.
Yeah,
really. But so overall, though, what I think we were.
Oh, I gave him a C minus, by the way. C minus.
Okay, so
C.
I'll give him a C. C for Piscotti.
You can just stop right there.
Okay, cool. What's next?
All right, let's go. We'll go to the starting pitching as a whole. All right, Julio. I'm high on this one, but you know.
Yeah. The more I was thinking about throughout the day, me too, man. I'm going to give him a B+. Chris Bassett, we didn't talk about this earlier. Chris Bassett actually was, Chris Bassett got some Cy Young votes. He was one of the best pitchers in the American League. And Chris, you're not going to hear me say this often, but you were right, man. You were right. Mason and I at the beginning of the year were kind of like, he's going to fall off at some point. Nope, he didn't. He was fantastic. Easily our best pitcher. Sean Manaea was not great. And then he clicked again. He was great again.
He went from being terrible to fucking best pitcher in the league, phenomenal. Like he was the amazing turnaround he had was incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And then Frankie, fantastic start to the season, got hurt, and then he was just awful. And then he bounced back a little bit. He had a
crucial
decent
from
start.
The bullpen.
Exactly. It came crucial when he had that last start of the season against the Mariners, and then what he did against the White Sox. And then Jesus, I don't think he lived up to what our expectations were, but that doesn't mean it's gonna kind of like dampen our hype for him, because there was some starts he had where he looked excellent. He looked like he
was consistent. Yes.
Yeah. And then with Mike Fiers, it was last year. This is going to be his last year in Oakland. Let's be real. There's a lot of movement that's going to be happening. And it was okay. It was whatever. The only thing I think is going to be again, we don't know if this is a 60-game season thing or if this is something we should be more aware of going forward, is like our guys barely lasted past 5. And I know they were probably being a little more cautious with Manaea and Luzardo coming back from those big injuries, but it was a little concerning that was like that. But besides that, Bassett was fantastic. Overall, I'd give him a B+.
But Julio, do you think that's an analytics thing, or do you think that's a pitchers not pitching well thing? Because Bob Melvin is an analytics manager.
It could have been.
And you're not how dominant the bullpen was too. Like he probably wanted to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think there was like something like easily less than 10 starts were at least 6 innings, which counts as like a quality start. So who knows? Especially if, again, you pointed out when you're bullpen as dominant as it was this season, you kind of have that leeway. But
Mhm.
I would give it a B plus though.
All right, Xavier.
I'm gonna give it a B, honestly. I feel like our starting pitchers have a lot of potential, and this past season with injuries and inconsistencies, they just didn't perform how we know they can perform. Like Lizardo, he had a 4 point something ERA. We know this guy can pitch a lot better because we've seen him play in the wild card game against the Rays, and he was just dominant for 3 innings, just 3 up, 3 down. Montas, I mean, him again, and we know what he could do. Like last year with the full game before this season, he got suspended. Yeah, he was cheating, but he was dominant. And then that back injury really derailed him, and then he was just way off his game to the point where
that injury fucking
it messed with him bad.
yeah.
Bassett's clearly our best pitcher. He had like a sub 2.5 ERA last season, and then I feel like we're going to rely on him to carry that over to be top dog. But I mean, I feel like we have a lot of potential. Plus, Puck. I mean, if he can stay healthy, then that's going to be a dominant asset we're going to have for him. We're pretty deep. I really like our starting pitching. They have a lot of potential. We know what they can do, and just if you give them that 162, that's going to relieve some stress to the point where maybe they can just relax up at the mound and give solid 6, maybe hopefully 7. Because I mean, I know we had a deep bullpen, a solid bullpen, but you don't want to go to your bullpen every day. After the 5th inning, you're just going to wear out your quality arms, and then we're going to need them for for intense games. You always want to give them some rest. So I like it. I like where we're going. I just want them to get a full 162, and then we should be all right. So I'm gonna give it a solid B.
I think this is our second best position behind what our next category is going to be. They were consistently good. Like they were all over the place, but like they consistently got the job done, and they attributed to what was the most important thing, getting a W on our record. Chris Bassett's amazing. I did call it. I'm just gonna say. He
Take that lap. Take that victory lap.
I'm taking multiple victory laps on that one. He was great last season. He was fantastic this season. Like I've been saying all season on this podcast, he's going to be the veteran moving forward that grounds the rotation. The A's always have that vet in the middle of the rotation that just grounds it. The Mike Fires, Bartolo Colon, you name it, Tim Hudson. He's going to be that guy. He's under contract for 3 more years. Like that's who he's going to be. He's not going to be our best pitcher. I think Jesus Luzardo is going to be our ace. And this is just his rookie season. Like he will definitely take the next level up, and he will be in that conversation and lead our staff. But this is going to be our grounding veteran. Shamania's complete 180 was phenomenal. I remember we were talking about Julio on this podcast in the first couple of weeks. Like, what do you do with him? Should we put him in the bullpen? He's becoming a liability. And then he just instantly just turns it around, and he was fantastic. Looks like he doesn't need the velocity. He can mix up his pitches, and he can confuse guys at the plate, and he can make it work. Montaz, he's so fucking weird, man. He's either the best pitcher in the league one day, or he's the worst the next day. Like, it makes no sense. There needs to be some more stability there with him. I don't know what his deal is. If the injury really fucked him up, I don't know, man. He's got to figure that out. Mike Fiers is gone. I'm not really going to talk about him. But at the end of the day, we need that ace that we can go into a playoff series and know he's going to dominate that game 1. We do not have that yet. Maybe Luzardo can be that one day, but right now we do not have that.
We don't have that dog.
They need to find that this offseason. They need to get that Bauer. They need to get that Lance Lynn. They need to get that
Charlie Morton. Would you go after him?
Charlie Morton. Free agent. Yeah, he's getting older, but yeah, maybe Charlie Morton.
If they can afford him. There's I don't want to get too far into the potential talk.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's somebody that like has like Oakland A's written all over him, it's Corey Kluber.
Kluber, yeah, that's a good one.
Or
I
like,
would
dude,
like
That,
that.
yeah, like
been
you
beat
said,
up.
Xavier,
He's
that
gonna get
dog
cheap,
who
so.
goes in there, who
We need
knows
that
he's
dog.
gonna go in there and dominate that performance and get his team hyped and get that confidence from his team, and they're gonna win. The guy who does the dance after he strikes someone out, like Trevor Bauer. That's what I want. I want to see one of those guys. That
We've never
Marcus
had
Stroman.
anybody like
Marcus
that.
Stroman would be great too.
Have we
No,
had
we
anybody
haven't.
like that?
No, man. I mean, not
Well,
since Barry Zito.
well, Sonny was top 3 Cy Young
Sonny,
in
Yeah,
2014.
that's a
Sonny.
good
He
one.
was pretty
Sonny.
dominant. Bartolo was pretty dominant in 12, but like,
And then you know what? And then I don't want to go back to this. And then they took the fucking ball out of his hand and they gave it to John Lester, and that was the end of our season. Like if they would have just believed in Sonny to be that dog, we would. Anyway. Sorry.
That wasn't all. That was not on Lester. I go to the grave with that was not on Lester.
He had no pickoff move. He was getting stolen on all fucking day.
He left the game 8-3. He left the game. It was 8-3. I don't know. That's another discussion, but I really feel
Yeah.
strongly about that.
there's a whole look. We're opening a can of worms with that. But
Uh-huh.
we have our reasons why.
When
We
you
all-
guys
Lester's
do,
a heated
when you
topic.
guys analyze that game, I want to be on the show.
Maybe we'll do a rewatch.
That'd be
of
fun.
this.
Hey, dude, straight up, that'd be a funny episode.
A
We'll just do a
rewatchables?
rewatch.
Yeah.
Rewatchables of a game, yeah. But okay, so overall, Chris, what was your grade again?
Mine's an A.
A, and then I gave B plus. You were at a B. B plus overall.
Mhm.
Cool.
All right,
Yeah, love
let's
it.
move on to relief pitching. I think is the best part of best position of our team. Julio, go ahead.
It's going to be named after the classic Emma Stone 2010 teen drama. This is an easy A for me, man. A plus. The bet. Not only did we have the best closer, or we had, unfortunately, probably the best closer with Liam, but like everybody else around him was freaking excellent. Jake Diekman was somebody who was so wishy-washy last year. He really was fantastic. He only gave up 1 run throughout the whole season. Yusmeira Petit was our innings hog. He did what he needed to do. Joaquim Soria was fantastic as well. JP Wendelken, to me personally, I think he's probably going to be our future closer. He has the stuff there. I think he really he showed the looks of it last year, but this year he really solidified himself.
I think AJ
But you know
Puck
what?
might
Hey,
be a future closer, but I
or AJ Puck, we'll see. But before I kind of pass it all to Xavier, because not too much we can really say to this. We know how dominant they were. Hey, give a shout out to our fallen soldier man, Birch Smith. Bad Birches only. Birch Smith was freaking awesome.
He was good.
I'm excited to see what he can potentially do next year.
Mhm.
He looked like he was going to be that guy to kind of, if shit were to hit the fan in the 4th or 5th inning with the starter, he was going to come in there and take over for that. And if he can get back to what he was, I think he's going to play a huge part of this rotation and what this identity is going to look like as a pitching. But dude, we have the best closer in baseball, arguably the best bullpen overall, even without the names there. So I'm going to give them an A plus.
Xavier,
I'm gonna
Pretty
give it
easy
an
one,
A.
I
I'm
assume.
gonna give it an
yeah.
A. Yeah, consistency. They were consistent throughout the whole season. I was really impressed. I mean, you'd have people coming up from Vegas. I'm like, oh, who's Weems? Who's this Weems kid? But coming in lights out.
Mhm.
Like, oh, who's Bert Smith? Lights out. I mean, I was impressed, honestly. And then I feel like I think we're okay. I think we have some questions, in my opinion. The back end of the bullpen. I mean, do you throw Trevino in there as like a 7 or 8 guy? I mean, we see that he hasn't been the same since 2018.
There's a lot of moves to be made this coming off season. I don't know. A lot of it depends on if Hendricks comes back or not, which probably he doesn't.
He's probably not.
And and Trevino actually had a couple weeks like in the beginning of September, because I highlighted him that he was pretty dominant for a short time. But then, like towards the end of September playoffs again, he kind of crumbled a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want to rely on him as that number?
No,
that
yeah,
setup man,
exactly,
though? That's
exactly.
the thing,
No.
and we are gonna have to figure that out this offseason because Soria's gone, and the Petit's probably gone.
Yeah, but I feel like we could afford to lose Petit. I seen like towards the end of the year, he didn't have his stuff like he did as when he was most effective. Maybe he was just getting older because I mean, when we seen that the playoff series against the Astros, they lit him up. And yeah, it was the Astros, but I mean, he didn't have his stuff at the same time. But I mean, I feel like the young guns in the bullpen are really going to propel us and be dominant hold it down. Well, I think we're still going to have a top 10 bullpen next season for sure.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the bullpen too much either. I don't think Petit comes back. I think he retires, man. He's old. Like I just don't. I mean, maybe a team will sign him, but who knows? And Diekman's probably gonna be our closer next season. Diekman was lights out. I mean, he should have been had there been an All-Star game, he would have been an All-Star too, along with Liam Hendricks. Like, I mean, this one's an easy one for me too. It's an A+. Like Liam Hendricks was a reliever of the year. We were the best bullpen all season. Like not even close. They talked about it on Baseball Tonight like regularly, which they never talk about the A's on Baseball Tonight. Like it's easy. This is an A+. We don't have to talk too much about it. There's a lot of question marks moving forward. We're losing a lot of guys, but like you guys both just said, like there's a lot of young guys that just like were so dominant this year. It's next man up. Wendell jumps up the setup man. Trevino can be a key piece if he gets it together. Weems had some good signs. AJ Puck, who knows? Maybe he's a starter. Maybe he's a reliever. I mean, we're gonna be fine. We have a lot of guys in the farm system in general that could fill those roles. James Caprillion, Grant Holmes. I mean, the list goes on and on. Let's finish it off. Well, not technically finish it off, but we'll finish off the actual positions with the DH position. A mess. Julio.
Yeah. If we're gonna just say Chris Davis straight up, because we know like there's a lot of guys platooning in there, but we've already talked about them at their individual positions. Chris Davis straight up, dude, C-. Actually, no, I'm gonna go with the D.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, man.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there was a lot of expectations where like pre-camp stuff, hype, where they're just like, yep, his swing is back. He looks like he's getting it together. We saw signs of it in the postseason. Pinder, and Marcus were like our best players easily in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget Murphy.
And Murphy, yes, of course. I'm sorry. Yeah. But it sucks. It sucks because like we know what he can do. I personally wouldn't be shocked if he's not on this team next year. I don't know who's
such a good postseason though. Like I feel like they have to be like, oh, these are signs. Maybe he's got it back.
Yeah, but like if you have when you know how, in reality, like our farm system's kind of depleted. We don't have anybody who's really gonna be the next this guy kind of thing. And the reality is like, dude, we probably have to stock up a little bit with some stuff.
No,
they're not.
They're not going to up. We can win now. I get what you're saying though, but like
no, but like yeah, let's be real. Like they're not going to move Ramon. They're not going to move Ollie or Chapman or Sean Murphy.
I don't know what you get for Chris Davis right now.
You can't get much because he's got a high contract and then he hasn't been putting out anything.
Is so low, yeah.
Honestly, if you can flip him, well, let's see. If the National League does expand to DH, I don't think it's going to happen this year. You're going to make things easier. But if you can flip him to a team that's like kind of almost there, and if you can get him like a more hitter friendly park, somebody would take it. He has 1 year left on his deal. I don't want to go too far into that. We'll save it for later. But it's just like, damn, just seeing how he was this season, I think his time in Oakland is, the reality is it's probably over. So I'm going to give him a D.
Same. I'm going to give him a D as well. I mean, when they announced that he was getting an extension, I was like, oh yeah, this guy, we're just going to see this guy mash home runs left and right. And it seemed like to me after that injury in Pittsburgh last year, when he ran into the wall, he hasn't been the same.
Yeah.
I mean, he's stepping out the box. He's just swinging late swings. It seems like he's swinging like a tree branch up there. Like he doesn't seem relaxed. It seems like he just seems all over the place.
And he used to have insane bat speed too. That's the craziest thing about it.
Yeah. He had a good postseason or two. It seemed like 2 games, maybe 3, but then he'd hit that home run against Houston and the next day he goes 0 for 4. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he's talk about streaky. This guy's the epitome of streaky. I mean, he hasn't been there this year and even last year after that Pittsburgh injury. So, I hope that he pulls it together. I really hope he pulls it together. I mean, we want to see him do good because we know he's a good dude. I mean, he's a good clubhouse guy. Everybody in the clubhouse loves him, but
yeah.
He needs to perform like he really is, or this is for sure his last year. And you don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's a D for me too. I don't really need to add too much to what you guys all said. It sucks because I love the guy, and when they extended him, you're like, "Fuck yeah, the A's are changing. Like this is gonna be great. Like he's got to deliver to like make them feel good about this, and he hasn't, which is frustrating. So
And that kind
hopefully,
of makes it hard to extend other guys because
yeah, man.
Fisher, he likes to hold on to his money, and then he's not going to want to spend money like on Chapman or somebody if he's saying, "Well, last time I gave somebody money, he didn't do shit." So I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want to see that.
All right. What's up, Julio?
Here's my hot take: the team that'll trade for him, Toronto. Contending team.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it.
Book it.
All right.
All right. Let's
Screenshot.
move on to the last position that's not a position. Manager, Julio.
It's tricky. This season's been very conflicted with Bomel. I'd give it B minus. I think that he did the best. Look, this season was not an easy season. We already know that. I think he did the best of his abilities. He got him to a division title. They finally got over that hump of Houston, albeit with some luck with Houston having a ton of injuries towards the beginning and middle of the season to kind of take advantage of that. They beat bad teams, which is what you really need to do to become a good team. But in the playoffs, it kind of just felt like the same old. We were all kind of calling, well, not all of us, but a lot of us are kind of calling for his head after game one of the wild card series. And why would you start Luzardo over Chris Bassett? And it panned out in the end, but there's still some concerns. I know we're not going to talk about managers as a whole, but I think we probably should acknowledge Darren Bush and how inconsistent, at least how he's teaching or training or managing these hitters.
Together the game.
Look, we had game plan. Yeah, we understand. Look, you're never going to be we rarely have high average hitters in Oakland, but it's strikeouts galore. And that's something that management really needs to work on. I know and something we brought up, came up as this last episode or something I tweeted about, which was in this last 2019 wildcard series against the Rays, Beaumont came out and said, like, yeah, we're going to really focus on hitting and scoring position with runners in score position, all that. And it didn't really improve. So I'd imagine it's weird. I would think the leash is going to be short for this season, but at the same time, I feel like John Fisher is so stand pat. You're doing enough to get us contending where people are going to care and people are going to go to games and spend money there. That's all I want, because in reality, he doesn't care about winning. But I'm going to go B minus. The highs are highs, but the lows are low.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a B. Bomel, I mean, his strengths. I'm gonna talk about his strengths and his weaknesses. He is a player's coach. I mean, everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. They want to play hard for him, and it's lucky because I mean, not every manager is a player's coach. You're seeing what's going on over in Chicago. Everyone hates Tony LaRussa already, and he hasn't even stepped foot. So I mean, we're really lucky to have a player's coach. Everyone buys into, everyone wants to play for this guy. Well, I mean, within the clubhouse. I mean, his weaknesses, I don't think he can really manage a bullpen when it matters. In the Astros series, I forgot who was pitching. Montas, I think it was. The first time around, he did really well. And then when Houston started to hit him, they hit a home run. Okay, they put Houston in front. Okay, it's a do or die. Why not start getting somebody warmed up right now? Don't wait until they hit another bomb, and then you start to get somebody up. I just think that he overmanages, or he doesn't really know how to manage the bullpen quite well as other managers across the league can do. And then his as far as his staff, I'm not sure why Al Padrique was left go. That was kind of a shocker because he did. I mean, he did help make us one of the best defensive fielding teams out there,
Mhm.
and then kind of find out he gets let go for some reason. That was quite a bit of a shocker for me, honestly.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna feed off what Julio said. Darren Bush, I don't really like the guy. I mean, I'm sure like the game plan from all last season and then years past with Darren Bush is take your pitch, which is true. Take your pitch. You don't want to, do too much, but all these strikeouts is just too much, in my opinion. So
there's something going on with the scouting reports where that he's not seeing stuff like in the because like he's definitely preaching see your pitches, go deep into the count and go from there. But like whatever he's seeing in from these scouting reports from these pitchers deep in the count, it's not working because they get fooled every time. Half of these pitches, half of these strikeouts are strikeouts looking like they just don't, they make terrible decisions. And I agree. It's got to change. But I can never give I can never give Bob Melvin a bad grade. So mine's an A. I just believe in everything that he does. He does have trouble managing bullpens in the playoffs, but he somehow finds a way to get these like young, immature, and not developed teams to play well. I thought he did pretty good this season. They were in first place for 2/3 of the season. It wasn't until Chappie got hurt that they really started to slide down the standings a little bit.
not his fault.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a 60-game season. It's really a sprint. Every game matters. Yeah. So I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on the players too. So I mean, it's not all his fault.
Yeah, especially when like they got hit with COVID and they're playing 3-4 like double headers and 18 days in a row. So we can't really hate on him at all because it's like he did the best way he could do with that, and that's what makes him great. What makes him a great manager. So is that
so that's gonna do it for the report card. Good overall, job, guys.
Overall as a team, though, I'll go ahead and start off. I'd give a B overall.
Yeah, solid. I would agree, honestly.
Yeah, I would give it a B too. The playoff disappointment makes me go lower. I think if we go to the ALCS, then it's a little bit higher for me. But
you guys want to hear my hot take?
Let's hear it.
This is it, or it's going to be blown up.
This coming
2021?
Yeah, because I mean,
no, I agree 100%.
We need people in our minor league system when we're very thin on that. So I mean,
the farm's dying.
Yeah, I would say that the only people that they don't get rid of would be Chappie and Ole, and then everybody else would be gone.
I could see them getting gone. I think the only people
I could see Chappie being gone. You can get the most prospects out of trading Chappie.
Maybe
I think it's going to be
proven that he doesn't want to play here. Like I'm not bought into him wanting to stay.
Chappie?
Yeah, that's just the vibe I'm getting. I mean, yeah, he's speaking truth. Like, remember that one comment when during the year when, how do you feel about not playing with fans? Oh, we're kind of used to it, and that's the truth. But I mean, that's just.
Well, no, he also said that thing where he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to testing free agency at one point too."
Yeah, he says every player dreamed, to test free agency. So I mean, that's telling me right there.
I would think the only person that probably want to get locked down because of how friendly their contract is Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
maybe. and then probably like Luzardo and Puck. But
yeah,
I hate you for bringing that up. But no, let's not end it on
let's not end it on a negative note. Let's
God scramble something nice to say. Shit.
Can't wait for 2021 World Series.
Yeah, there we go. World Series 2021, and then they won't sell anybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Next episode free agency starting, so maybe we'll know some stuff by then.
Yeah,
we'll know.
We'll be able to talk about.
If not, maybe we'll kind of have a crystal ball and predict what we think is going to happen. And then also, Hall of Fame ballots are going to be announced during that time as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of do our own spin on who's going to make it this year. Well, those kind of final year guys or close to final year guys like Bonds and Clemens, will they get in? We'll see.
All right, well then that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for joining us, Xavier. Really
Thank you for having me. It was
awesome.
Actually really fun. I'm down to do this again.
Talking A's baseball is always
this is fun.
Time. Before we go, don't forget to our listeners, if you want to listen to other sports talk podcasts, check out my podcast, The Magic Hour. Every other week. Right now, we're talking football. We do $5 picks where me and two buddies bet on picks. NBA draft coverage is coming up. Talking about the NBA draft on this week's episode. And also the Masters. We talk about Masters odds with my buddy Bobby on this little independent podcast network that we have going. Potentially there's some new podcasts popping up. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's going to do it. Fun one. So I'll see you in a couple weeks, Julio.
We'll see you then. I'll be bugging the shit out of you until then. But
that's true. We'll
see you in podcast form then.
Texting about sports all day anyway.
Exactly.
And last but not least, Julio.
Let's go, Oakland.
Peace. The Town Tailgate is an independently produced podcast. It is written and executive produced by this guy, Chris Madrigal, and my partner in crime, Julio Reynoso. It is sound mixed and edited by yours truly. Social media management and marketing is run by, once again, my partner, Julio Reynoso. And a special thanks and shout out to my brother, Larry Madrigal, for composing and producing our theme song, as well as graphic designing our album cover and artwork. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Please tune in next week. Please subscribe. And last but not least, as we always say, let's go, Oakland.